Hey guys, so what was this? I don't know. Hey guys, today I wanted to make a video. I had received a few DMs from you guys requesting this video. There was actually a couple different requests going on, especially since Nathan and mine and Nathan's, Nathan and mine, grammatically mine and Nathan's, right? Anyway, mine and Nathan's trip is coming up to Japan in like 3 days. We are so excited about it. It's coming up so soon, and so I thought I would take you guys through the process of how I planned the trip. Here's the thought process going into planning the trip as far as flights, hotel, things to do, pretty much everything. I haven't seen Kuma in a while. He's gotten pretty large, so it's my baby. Since we're gonna be going on this trip, I'm gonna be vlogging the whole thing. I can't guarantee that the videos are going to be up from the vlogs while it's happening because I'm not really sure how the internet will be over there and when I'll find time to edit. So we're going to be there for 2 weeks. It's going to be a while, but definitely after I come back, I will be making a ton of vlog videos for you guys to see exactly what happened on our trip. All right, so this is my notebook that I've been using. It's literally just a regular sketchbook that I've used to compile all of my thoughts and everything that I'm planning for this trip. In the front of it, I just have print out like confirmations and things like that because I'm a huge stickler for being very thorough and detailed when it comes to these things. If you know me, I'm actually a pretty messy person, hence the disaster on my counter. But when it comes to things like planning or like paperwork and stuff like that, I love organization. Basically what I did first is I wanted to buy the plane tickets. This is our first international trip, so I'm sure there's better ways to do this, and I'm sure other people will have different ways to do it that might be more efficient and less time consuming. But what I ended up doing when I was looking for flights is I went on a couple different websites and I would check religiously. Like, I'm telling you, every day, if not every like few hours, I would be checking the flights just because I'm just very particular and I want to make sure I'm getting the best deal possible. With me and Nathan, this is our first trip, like I said, so we don't know how much these things are supposed to be costing and what's a good deal and what's not, so I just wanted to compare prices. So that's the first tip I have for you guys, is just to compare prices all the time. So we were going through Skyscanner, but everything, I mean, I didn't really find any good deals through there. It was pretty cheap prices, but it wasn't really what I was looking for. So what I ended up doing is I wanted to make sure that we got the best deal possible, and I found that even though San Antonio has an international airport, leaving San Antonio and going to a different country is very expensive, whereas flying out of LA is much cheaper. So basically we did it to where there's a flight from San Antonio to LA as a one-way trip, and then a round trip from LA to Shanghai, because there's a layover in Shanghai. It's a 15-hour layover, which some people might think sucks, but I think it's pretty cool because it saves us money, number one, and number two, it basically gives us time to experience another country. I know it's only for a day almost because our flight gets in about 5 p.m. and then the next day it leaves at 9 a.m. So we booked a hotel. We're just gonna be hanging out there and just kind of seeing what Shanghai has to offer in a 15-hour time span. And then we're flying from our layover spot in Shanghai to Tokyo, then back to Shanghai, then LA, another one-way trip from LA to San Antonio. So it's a little tedious when it comes down to planning it and checking all the times and making sure everything lines up right. But the biggest thing that I can say is that it saved a lot of money. I want to say originally our plane tickets were going to be about $1,300 each, round trip from San Antonio to Tokyo. In reality, our plane tickets came out to be like $1,400 for both. So I mean, it was definitely a good deal. The main thing I would say is to check different sites. I would definitely use that to your advantage. Make it work and just have it part of the experience. Just to show you how like in depth I got, I made this like graph here and it has basically like the airline, the departure date, the arrival date we're departing from, and the time, and the place we're arriving to and the time, along with a confirmation number, all listed conveniently right here. If that wasn't enough, I did print out the flight itinerary, so I do have the booking confirmations and everything as a hard copy. The thing is Airbnb or accommodations as far as where you're going to be sleeping and staying. Of course, hotels are really convenient because of all the services and amenities that they have for you. You don't really have to clean up after yourself. You could just kind of go there, chill out, everything's taken care of. but the downfall is that it's pretty expensive depending on how long you're staying somewhere and where you're staying. So in a lot of the cities that we're going to be staying in Japan, it was more affordable to go into Airbnbs, which is fine. I think that's really exciting because we've never been to an Airbnbs before. We've never stayed in one, but a lot of the time they have like their kitchen, of course, because it's an apartment. Everything is just right there for you, and it feels comfortable because it feels like you're in a home that's your own. So I'm really excited to be staying there, and so I would highly recommend Airbnb. Staying in like Tokyo for 6 days or something, and the total price was like $300 for like 7 days, 6-7 days, whereas if it was in a hotel it would be like $300 for just 2-3 days. So we definitely saved some money there, and I would highly recommend that. If you were interested or you were okay with it, you can do things like couch surfing. So sometimes it's even free. There's just people that are available to have you chill on their couch, or even sometimes they have like a guest room that they're just like, hey, you need a place to sleep? I got it. And there you go. So the next thing that I would say is probably one of the most important things is figuring out transportation, because a lot of places, you know, in Japan they have like the train system, so I had to look at the pricing for that. I had to look at the Shinkansen, where it's the bullet train, and how much that is, how far it'll go, what the time period for that is. So looking at things like that, or if you need to rent a car, if you need to get an international driver's license, things like that, you always have to look into those different means of transportation. Infinitely cheaper if there's a train system rather than you having to spend money on gas and renting a car and driving around everywhere. So personally, that's what we did. For Japan in general, there is the JR Pass, which I would recommend if you're going to be going around a lot, like everywhere in Japan, because the JR Pass is basically a prepaid pass that you purchase depending on if you're staying for 7 days, 14 days, or 21 days, I think. And basically you just get to, you pay a certain amount and you get to go wherever you want. You just scan your card and you're good. But we have another option, which is Passmo, or Suica cards, and they're basically prepaid cards as well, where you put the money on the cards, you can just scan it in, that way you're not having to buy the train fare, and it's a lot more convenient from what I hear. So we're going with that option since JR Pass is too expensive for us. The other thing is looking at the currency. I'm so sorry if you can hear them. The thing you can look at is currency conversion, because sometimes you'll be like, I'm gonna take so much money over there, but when you look at the conversion for it, you're like, wow, I'm not taking anything. For us, I know a lot of people say that Tokyo or Japan in general can be very expensive, so I've definitely done a lot of research with looking into how much things cost, like the cost of living. So definitely do your research and see how much a cup of coffee is, how much the train fare is, how much a bowl of ramen goes for. Like looking at things like that, that way you can kind of plan and be like, okay, well, it's a little bit more expensive, so I should probably plan on bringing a little bit more money. And just saving over time. I know a lot of people think that when people go on international trips, they make bank and they can pull out money whenever they want. That's not true. I mean, some people might. I definitely can't. We are not rich by any means, so we really have to be strict, which we're not, which is why we couldn't get the JR Pass, which is why we're struggling to make this trip happen. Just kidding. But really though, it's a little difficult to be strict. So you have to be strict with your budget, and I had to plan. Again, I'm just like a big stickler on making sure there's a plan for everything. So I would just plan our budget for the month or 2 months ahead, 3 months ahead, maybe up to 6 months ahead. And I would just be like, this is how much money we have to spend for this paycheck. This is how much money is going to go straight to Japan. And granted, we didn't keep up with it all the time, but you know, you kind of have to figure out what works best for you and how you can go about doing that to save as much as possible to make the trip happen. It's not just going to be, I'm sure most people don't have like $3,000 just to blow on an international trip, and there you go, all set and done. Don't get discouraged, just make it happen. Start putting a little bit to save here and there. Figure out how much it's going to cost, get all the flights, the hotels, and everything together, and figure it out, and then just budget accordingly. The last few things that I have basically are figuring out a couple different things is figuring out like the language, which Nathan and I started learning a little bit of Japanese, some conversational pieces just to kind of get us around. Hopefully that'll come in handy. We don't know too much as far as like the grammar, but I think we know a few phrases and can understand a little bit to kind of get us to kind of get us around easily, hopefully. They're so crazy, I can't. Definitely looking into seeing and doing your research. What do you want to do? So I know that most people probably will not have like a day-to-day itinerary of what they want to do, but we do. So I work at an office job and I had a lot of free time like in between calls just to sit there and plan my trip. So I literally got these little sheets that would have like where we're gonna be, what we're gonna be doing, the times. Like I'm not doing it, you know, minute by minute, but I did it by hour, and even then it's not like eating lunch, taking a break. I really just put breakfast, general place that we want to go to, general neighborhood we want to go to, or maybe like a hint of a restaurant we wanted to go to. I definitely did a lot of research for different places we wanted to go to, different cities, different restaurants, different activities to do, different events that are going on around the time. The most fun I've had planning this is getting to decide where we're gonna go, because it gets me so excited. I'm like, oh man, we're gonna go to Osaka Castle and Osaka, and like it's really exciting because you're like getting so hyped up to go to these places you've been wanting to go to. And so it's honestly like the most fun and the best part for me about planning is like seeing what you're gonna be doing, what you're gonna be eating, because you just get to visualize it. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm just too excited, but like it makes me so hyped about it, and I'm just like, hell yeah, I'm gonna be at that cheesecake place on this street where I have no idea where it is in Tokyo, and I'm excited to try this cheesecake. I don't know, just it makes me excited. And then finally I would say definitely see what the weather is going to be like, see what you know you need to bring along to wear, what you need to purchase. And that's definitely something that I did, was where I made lists of things to purchase, what we need to bring, and everything that needs to get packed, which again I'll show you guys in the next video that I'm going to be making. Is a packing video of everything we bought and everything that we gathered together for the trip. But looking at the weather ahead of time and kind of getting an idea of what it's going to be like. If you guys want to plan an international trip, do not be discouraged. I can't handle this. Do not get discouraged, guys. It is definitely possible to do something like this. It's so much fun to plan the trip, especially if you're going to go with a friend, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a spouse, a brother, a relative, whoever. It's just so much fun. And if you want to travel by yourself, that's totally fine. It's going to be a lot cheaper that way. But it's just so much fun to plan these kinds of things, and we're really excited to go on our first trip together. I hope this video was kind of helpful for you guys. I know I rambled just a little bit. It makes me really excited to talk about, so I'm constantly just like hyped about it. But I'm going to be putting a ton of links in the description box of places that I used, websites that I used, just everything. It's going to be a ton of information for y'all to... There's a hair somewhere and it's scratching my eyeball. I found it. But yeah, it's gonna be super helpful for you guys, hopefully. And if you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. I would love to help you guys plan your trips. Again, it's kind of my thing. I am gonna be coming out with a packing video probably later towards this week, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. And I'll let you guys know how we're packing and everything that we're bringing along with us, so stay tuned for that. Please give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already, and subscribe to join the family. Click the notification bell to see when my videos are coming out, and to stay tuned on the new Japan vlogs that are going to be coming out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!